I'm here as a department, as a representative from the department, which has to see to it that I appoint, and I was telling my colleague in labor relations that I appoint teachers, you dismiss them. Yeah, I appoint, but if you misbehave in between, there will be another wing that will deal with you. But I'm happy that I have to see to it that you are appointed to make sure that the laws are there, and then to make sure that we travel this journey, and to make sure that when you exit, you don't suffer. And that's where I come in, because there is a lot of benefits that we'll enjoy even after this career. I didn't know when I came here that how to present what I'm having. I have a PowerPoint presentation, but I saw my colleagues who presented before me that they were not using a PowerPoint, so I have to adjust. But let me just tell you that
projector shell.
HR
Let them connect
is
to
also
the
in the
are connected to the projector.
When you go to section 195, it talks about HR. It talks about So HR is a constitutional matter. Apart from maybe you must use EEA, you must use Labor Relations
It will also
Act,
take him
you
time.
must use Public Service Act, but HR is also a constitutional matter. And let me just say that if you don't find anything in EEA, in the in labor relations, the LRC and all those things, conditions of service, go to the Public Service Act. The Public Service Act trumps all these other acts. So there will be no gap in terms of the conditions of service for educators. If it's not prescribed or defined in the EEA, it will be there in the Public Service Act. But we know that the conditions of service were regulated in terms of the personnel administrative measures. That is PAP and the EEA. So I just wanted to share with you that as a Department of Education, we are managing a budget of around 26 billion per year. And 24 billion goes towards paying the COE for educators. That includes your salaries and all your benefits. So if we are to budget for educators, Treasury always will tell us, don't exceed 24 billion. Otherwise, you pay from your own pocket. So everything that we do is emanating from this budget of 24 billion, which also will define what must go to the school and the classroom and our learner-educator ratio. We were able to, with the little budget that we had, we were able to declare a staff establishment to school of 51,752. And this was very little in terms of the pressure that we are having in schools. We wish that we can have more so that we alleviate the pressure of the learner-educator ratio. And we are cognizant of the fact that most of our teachers are aging. I was happy to see youth in Limpopo. And I'm not saying anyone are retired or something of that nature. But when we calculated the age profile, starting with the category of the principal, we found that 1,384 they are aged between 55 and 59, and that is retirement age again. We have about 3,000 schools. So if we have about 1,000, almost 300, it means at any time our principals can say, hey, not a way, and then just leave teaching in our schools at large. And let me just say, in terms of this age profile, the principal, probably less than 40 years, is only 29. Only 29 in the whole province. And then when we come to the departmental heads, also we have almost the same number as those that of the principals. Leona Evetako 1,300 and something. And deputy principals, because we were not appointing for quite a long time, I think this number is less. But you'll agree with me that since last year, we advertised almost more than 4,000 promotional posts in the province, which were filled in January, February, and so on and so on. Although there are also contestations and other things, but the next advert will come before long, because we are having a lot of them that were not filled because people were contesting. But let me tell you that when it comes to classroom teachers, people who are in the category of 55 to 60, they make around 11,000. So we are also approaching an era where teachers can also say, another way, at this age, you'll not stop them. So, which means immediately, are we recruiting enough to have teachers whenever they will fill this space? And that is our duty as well, to say, let us recruit. As we recruit for people to join this union, we must also recruit for people to join teaching. Because you can only join this union if you are a teacher. So let us have also our children and our relatives to say there is a lot of other benefits as well in teaching. The things that I'm going to talk about going forward. One of the benefits and which we are trying to guard by our bodies is retirement. We having a very serious problem in terms of how we exercise this benefit. And I want to say, as teachers, there is a concession that is made that you can retire at the age of 50. But you must have that is not automatic. You have to apply so that you are given an approval. But 55 to 65, you can retire. The problem that we are facing as HR is for people who will say, I retire, we approve that we are retiring. After a month or so, they come back and say, no, we are resigning. And we wanted to have a session with our educators, especially our educators that are about to retire, to say, when you retire, there are more benefits than when you resign. People will resign and the person is at the age of 60. And remember, at the age of 60 or 65 or 60, let me just say 60. And then you are promised that you will get 4 million or 5 million. If I may say, calculate all your salaries for the past 5 years. I think you have exceeded 5 million. But let's go and check your bank account. Do you have something in your bank account? None. But that's the issue that you are saying, and it comes from a certain district. And we are very much worried that in that district there are people who are advising people not to retire but to resign. And that has got consequences that are not good. And we don't want to see a person today is a teacher, you are joyful like you are today, tomorrow, that's not good. I think that's the point that I wanted to emphasize under retirement. That retirement, please don't be advised otherwise. Retirement will help you because with retirement, you are going to get your leave annuity, you are going to get your pension gratuity before you get your monthly payments. And that will survive you for a certain period because it will also come in terms of millions. In terms of leave, we also manage leave. But we also want to say, especially people who are about to retire, please on your payslip, just check there will be what we call capped leave days. And capped leave days will be a cash that will be given to you when you retire. And when you resign, you forfeit it. So I want you to check and be sure that what reflects on your payslip is what is really your days, your capped leave days. Because, you know, it's very painful to be in HR and you see a person who has worked for the department for more than 40 years. By then he's worn out or she's worn out. The department did not calculate or she discovered something that was supposed to have been discovered a long time ago, and even personnel has closed, and now we have to start the system again, and so on and so on and so on. But I'm saying, as teachers, let us start looking at our own affairs. Look at our own affairs. So this was the leave measure. But what we are saying is, if you want to know more about leave measures, then you have to look at the public service, the PSCBC resolutions. They talk a lot about the measures with regard to leave and about 5 days, family leave, and so on and so on. That will be public service, the PSCBC Resolution 1 of 2012. I think if you go through that one, it has more than what it is in the PAM. So, like I said, this will be a resolution which covers these other resolutions. Because if we have a resolution from the PSCBC, then the Minister of Education will just say, I'm extending. Because that is the mother department. So in terms of, again, the leave measures, I want you to say, nominate people who will benefit. It's like sometimes you think you're going to live forever here on earth. You don't draw a will, and you die, and people now start fighting for what we have worked for what you sweat for. Even with beneficiaries of leave, please complete a form to say, these are my beneficiaries. What I'm trying to say is, much as you are looking after our children, look after yourself as well. So make sure that you have those forms completed, and so on and so on. There are also benefits that are not prescribed by the Minister of Basic Education. The issue of housing allowance. I'm not sure all of us are beneficiaries of housing allowance. If you have a home or you are a homeowner, then you qualify for 1,500 rands and 7 cents. If you are a tenant, you qualify for 900 rands. So if you don't have a house, this will accumulate. The day you say, I'm having a house, you will find that it has accumulated, and now you can withdraw it and build yourself a beautiful house. But every teacher qualifies for a housing allowance, and you should be a member of the scheme as well. The other thing that we were struggling with as HR is the long service. The 10 years, the 20 years, the 30 years, and 40 years. Some people forget that now I'm 10 years in the field, or now I'm 20 years in the field, or now I'm 30 years in the field. We know that if you are 10 years up to 19, you only qualify to have more leave days. But if you are 20, then you qualify for 10,899. If you are 30 years in the field, you qualify for 21,797. If you are 40 years, you qualify for 29 and 64 rands. And then if you're not coming forward, if your HR in your district does not come across this, then it means or ifiti. Please check as to where are you now in terms of service in the department, and approach your HR in your respective district. I'm not going to talk much about medical assistance, but I just want to say that the department, although GEMS is compulsory for the new recruits, but there are people who were in other medical schemes. even when you retire, you will still get a subsidy. I'm saying I'm not here to advocate for a certain medical scheme or what. I'm talking about what is due to you, irrespective of the name of the medical scheme. So you also qualify, irrespective of whether you are Discovery or you are Bonitas or you are James, and so on and so on and so on. And there is also a benefit in terms of the service bonus. The service bonus otherwise is with you. But you can also structure. I get the service bonus, normally we say that is the 13th check. You can also structure such that